Hey Lavis.
What are you up to, man?
I'm trying to sit and ideate something for the Tech Throwback Thursday. Yeah?
Oh, that is why you're sounding a bit different.
Oh, that's not the reason why, it's because I'm speaking on the watch directly. Oh, I just got a great idea, man. I'll call you back. Welcome back to Pinkula Tech, and in today's episode of Tech Throwback Thursdays, we're going to talk about smartwatches, their past, their present, and their future. Let's get started. The use of a watch dates back to 2000 BC. They didn't have watches back then, but they used to use something called as a sundial that would point out the time of the day depending on the position of the sun in the sky. That's maybe one of the reasons why they used to not set meetings at night.
What nonsense? They used to use the moon and the stars to figure out the time.
Maybe, but then what do they do on a new moon day? Any which ways, it was only in 1300 AD that we got a proper working mechanical watch. 500 years later was the first working wristwatch, and then 162 years later after that was the first working digital watch. This first smartwatch was made in 1972 by a company called as Hamilton Watch Company, and the watch was called as Pulsar. Honestly speaking, the watch would only display a digital time, but for that time or that era, that was a smartwatch in itself. Moving to 1980, companies like Microsoft and Apple started to manufacture their own personal computers for people. There was a very ambitious company, and they started to manufacture personal computers the size of a watch. This was Seiko. These watches by Seiko were called the Data 2000 and Seiko T001. The Seiko Data 2000 used to use an external keyboard which would attach wirelessly and you could feed in data. And the Seiko T001 had a small television screen which could project TV images. Can you imagine sitting at a coffee shop and across you there's a gentleman who pulls out a small keyboard, attaches it to his watch and starts feeding in some data? I would walk up to the gentleman and ask him, "Are you Mr. Bond, James Bond?" The Seiko Data 2000 and the T001 were true smartwatches, but they heavily relied on external heavy components which would sit in your jacket pocket, and there would be a wire running through your sleeve to the smartwatch. That is how those watches functioned back then. Fast forward to 1999, Samsung launched the SPH WP10, or you could just call it cell phone watch. That's honestly, that's all it did. All you could do is make and receive calls from the watch and obviously see time. The first touchscreen watch was launched by IBM in 2001. It sported a 1.3-inch QVGA display with a resolution of 320 x 260, and it ran on Linux 2.2. With the IBM watch, you are now able to see a smartwatch taking shape into the current generation of smartwatches that we see now. For another 10 years or so, there was no real progress in the world of smartwatches. But in 2012, Sony launched the Xperia smartwatch. The whole intention behind this watch was only to act as a support device for their Xperia lineup of smartphones. Now, Sony back then were the first company to launch a phone with an IP rating, and now we see that as a trend or a compulsion or a necessity in the smartphone world. In a similar way, with their first Xperia watch, they gave the world a proper modern smartwatch or a blueprint which most of the companies are now using as a reference to build their smartwatches. Using Sony's Xperia watch as a blueprint, a lot of companies started investing money into R&D and development of smartwatches. In 2013, Pebble launched their first watch, and this watch could monitor your steps and some personal data. This is where you start to see watches becoming more personalized. In 2014, Samsung got back into the game and released their Samsung Gear S watch. What was different about this watch? One, it was the first 3G compatible watch, so you could make and receive calls from the watch directly, and it had a curved display. Back in 2013, Samsung was experimenting with curved displays on their cell phones, and that's how we saw the first curved display on the smartwatch. And that's one of the main reasons why we were able to get the first watch with a curved display. In 2015, Apple launched their first watch, called it the Apple Watch. and that changed the game for smartwatches completely. The year-on-year growth for smartwatches has been just exploding, and with the lockdown, that's even grown 35% year-on-year. Right now, Apple is leading the market with 35% of the market hold in overall exports and manufacturing of Apple watches. And for a company which has started manufacturing watches only in 2015, that's a great amount of achievement right there. With the Apple Watch, Apple introduced many features which were groundbreaking. For instance, ECG is currently only available in Apple Watch. The other feature which they have just released with their update is how is your body posture when you're walking. In case you're not putting your feet, your weight distribution on your feet is not right, your Apple Watch will point it out to you. These are some amazing features that are currently available to us on our smartwatches right now. In the future, we can see many more such applications or features coming to us on our smartwatches. Let's just glance through the future and the rumors and understand what are the things that we can expect in the new launches. Currently, our smartwatches are nothing but extended devices when you compare them to our smartphones. The only reason being, the screen real estate provided by a smartphone is not something that a smartwatch can beat, unless we are able to perfect the holographic display on our smartwatches, which can replace the mobile phone screen. However, there are a lot many things that we can expect in the smartwatch spaces, because even Facebook has decided to launch a smartwatch of their own, and also Apple will be introducing glucose monitoring system on our smartwatch directly. So I don't know, somehow in a way I think medical support is something that we will provide directly off our smartwatches, because they are more of a personal devices to us. And in this whole length of pandemic, if there's one thing that we have learned is smartwatches have become a very integral part of our lives when it comes to balancing our work life and a normal healthy lifestyle that we're trying to maintain in this stressful, fast-paced world. Can we see a smartwatch becoming our primary source of device or information or communication? Why not? I think what we've learned in the past few years is this little device here is much more powerful and capable of what it was a few years back. And maybe this might just outpace the smartphone as we know it altogether. This is Aurelius signing off from Pinkula Tech. And this has been an episode of Tech Throwback Thursdays. We spoke about smartwatches and their evolution. If you've liked us, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe to us, and leave a comment in case there's anything in specific that you'd like us to cover. Have a good evening, guys.